What is the preferred? Oh no, here and yeah. So I actually remade the 3 games in Pico 8. 2 games I played, 1 game that I actually, and the first game that I developed. So I want to keep this nice and simple. I'll break down only a few elements that are hard. Only the hard parts. And yeah. So let's have some fun. So before we actually get started, if you want to learn Pico 8, the best websites are actually Pico 8 Fandom and the Pico 8 API cheat sheet. They're gonna be in the description. Also, if you guys want to play any of these games, it's gonna link in the description. Now, some of them are co-op only, one of them, and the rest, I think you can actually play on mobile too. But either way, also hit the subscribe button if you guys enjoy what you guys see. So, yeah. Now, the first game that I actually developed was actually Pong. Honestly, I think Pong's actually a pretty good place to start. Pong's a pretty good game to actually start making to start. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's not really the best, but it works. And although the collisions can definitely be better made, it was actually my first time making collisions. So, yay, we got boobs here. Nice. Nice name function that only calculates if the ball is out of bounds. But, anyway. So, everything is not hard. The movement is just taking an input and changing the position based around that input. So, the ball is automatic and not too hard. Here's my first collider checking. Now, since there's no real colliders in this game, we actually gotta do it ourselves. I'm just taking the values of the player Y and if the ball is actually less than the player Y and Y1 and player 1 Y2, and putting it equal to player 1 X plus 1, and then it's gonna reverse. Same thing as with this. If it reaches the ceiling, it reverses too. And this is the boost function. This is the most important function. Not a bad project. Only took a 4% capacity. Nice. All right. Now, we reboot. Yep. That's why the cheat sheet's good. It actually shows you functions that you can do for the main menu. But, alright, the second game I actually made was actually Snake. Remade, but Snake. So, don't ask me why, but the player is kind of sus. Yeah, that looks like sperm. Now, there is a bug, in which case the tail actually goes out of the edges, out of bounds. I definitely have to fix that, but not too hard. The only thing that I'll actually break down is actually how I did the apple spawn and the collider. We know there's this function is actually kind of obvious. It does this when the player's alive. So, here's the function for the apples to spawn. We have a bool called new apple is equal to true. And randomize the position between 1 and 118. The reason why we have this one is actually because if I don't have it, it's going to be calculating between 0 and 118. So we add that 1. And then now it calculates between 1 and 119. I mean, same thing with this. 9 and 119. And then said can spawn. Then you lock this function by setting this to false. Here's the colliders. So this is actually pretty simple. since we're talking about two objects, I just took the position of the Y and X values. Compare the player or the apple to the other. Subtract. And it's like the best one, kind of like checking for distance. A distance formula. And then I say if it's less than 7 or higher than -7 for both, you can actually spawn and add another score. Yeah. The inputs just simply change the direction, but it's actually pretty easy. Yeah. We don't talk about why it does look like sperm. God, I did not like the players. But the player, the way I made the player. But I'll probably fix that, make something better later on. Now, the last thing we're actually doing is actually my first game that I actually developed, and this was like my biggest project. And I mean, like, I have a main menu. Okay, it's a bit too loud, but okay. The main menu, and then you have to fire to start. That power up doesn't have collision for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, it's actually pretty simple. You have a shield, you don't take damage. If you don't have a shield, you take damage. You can actually grab lives in here. And yeah. So, overall it's a simple concept for a game. And yeah. I definitely want to fix the audio sometime, because at the time of making this, I had no clue that the audio was going to keep looping. So, apologies for that. And that's the reset. So, the only thing that I'm actually going to break down, since this is kind of a big project, is actually going to be the way I done the audio. Yeah. It's just calculating, increasing the time. The game runs at 60 frames per second, so it means 1 second, it's going to be 60. And a few frames later, it's going to be equal to this. To which case, allows the audio to be played again. And that's always going to be an infinite loop. There's a screen loop, which is I actually didn't show you guys, but here. Also, I don't know why I died of one. So, yeah. Calculates the live, which live you're currently on. The power-ups, randomize, position, randomizer, movement. It just randomizes the X when you reach 150. Does the state, if it's the state 1, 0, aka the power-up just pong. So I'm gonna set an ID, and I'm gonna set this to false. Otherwise, this is actually gonna play again. And if this power-up state is equal to 1, aka the power-up has been collected, the power-up ID goes to 3. To which case, I mean, it actually doesn't show any sprites. Power-ups ID 1 and 2 has a collider, in which case it does check for, it's like the same thing that I showed you guys in the snake. Plus this whole code, which is just simply, it's like if statement instead of an if statement. I do not like it. Yeah, here's how the life works, shield, and the game reset. Alright, so the bullet, definitely have to fix this, because for now it's actually tied to the player moving. When the player moves left or right, the bullet actually follows. So to fix that. Shield, it just simply spawns the shield. Displays the shield's quiet when you have the shield. Else, the shield's gonna be disabled. Enemy move, randomize the position, kind of like the power up. The bullet has a fire rate, or time to fire, and the speed of this. I definitely have to should do this better. I don't know if this actually fixes, but yeah. Yeah, you see? It doesn't really fix it. Yeah, this does have to be a wild loop. Yeah. But, anyway, calculates the fire rating and resets. Collider, also pretty easy. Enemy collider. The only difference is that there's a shield check. Yeah. Overall, it wasn't really much of a hard game to make it. Yes, it did took 10%, but that's also because I'm a beginner. I think Pico 8. I definitely want to keep improving on Pico 8. It seemed kind of fun, especially due to the fact that I don't have a very high artistic properties. And yeah, this is totally not sus. Like, just look. Yeah. That looks like a fucking dick! Or an Among Us character. Anyway, double sus. Yeah. Not really that hard. But since this is technically the last day that I'm actually of the week today, the first week on Pico 8, I'll also show you guys what I actually started working on. So load m_test. So this is actually a menu check, a way to do menus and stuff. And yeah, it does work also if you're... It's actually pretty good. Interesting. And that also looks like everything for some reason. But here's how I got it working. Scene contains an ID and a button in which case has an ID, a maximum amount of button, and which buttons? The current sprites of the button. Color. The draw, it just takes the scene and you do a certain function. So, input, this works pretty well. Highlights the button. Scene selector. Draws the scene and stuff. Yeah. Not really a hard thing. Not really hard. But it's probably gonna help me in making slightly better games and stuff. So, yeah, there's definitely more that I have to learn, like animations. I'm pretty sure that's gonna end up being like for loop or a coroutine with a for loop. I think you can actually do coroutines in here. Yeah. Yep. But anyway, thank y'all for coming, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out, brothers.